Hello everyone, welcome back. So today we're going to be playing the Spirit Blossom Kindred. And we'll be facing off against the 5.5 star Nightmare Portal. I just looked at the powers that the Nightmare Portal had. The Chronicle of Ruin will probably be very good for us, since every time a unit dies, we just... what is it? When any unit dies, create a Beast's Frenzy in hand. If you have one, reduce its cost by 1. So we basically have 3 Beast's Frenzy every turn. And Urgify doesn't really matter, because Chronicle of Ruin will just completely shut that part down. But from everything else, it'll probably be pretty decent for us. If we mark an enemy, we're guaranteed to give +1/+0 to everything anyway, because everything's dying. And yeah, Spirit Blossom Kindred will probably fare well against this encounter. The hardest part is definitely going to be Viktor. Viktor, the hard version of Viktor that duplicates the 0 cost spell that gives Viktor a keyword is actually pretty challenging, because you need an SR2 Viktor on the first turn. But hopefully Kindred will get us there. We'll have the Beast to Fiend for the Overwhelm for our, well, Beast. And then we also have Grand General's counter plan, so we can constantly play Kindred's Dance of Arrows once Kindred's leveled up. And the Archangel's Staff to help with that as well. We'll mostly rely on spells to win against the opponent. And we summon a created ally. Does this count as creating an ally? Because if that's the case, Beagle the Stash is the correct choice. Let's not gamble on that, because otherwise we don't really... I guess the Beast is a created ally, so sure. Let's gamble on the fact that the opponent's power summons a created ally. Keep the Death Seer and the Fading Icon. Will probably be useful. In fact, the Fading Icon summons a created ally. Right away with the buff caps. We need to close out this game fast. Or at least try to do so. It's going to be a bit rough until we reach Kindred. Also, we don't mark any enemies naturally. We're going to have to rely on other forms of marking to actually achieve what we want. Actually, no, that got marked anyway. Interesting. Let's jump block this guy, jump block here. Suppose we'll do this to minimize the amount of damage taken. I say as I just die to or take a bunch of damage from the buff caps. Fortunately, we can use the beast to get rid of that assembly bot right away. I'm still running the rune that gives all of my allies that gives me the Haunting Howl power. So all of my allies have Hallowed, which is going to significantly increase the amount of damage my units deal. Let's pull here. This Vengeful Inf actually has infinite Deathless. Interesting. Because it gets killed and it gets resummoned as the Deathless version. So we very quickly... Wait, is that how it works? Are we just going to develop a full board of kindreds now? I didn't know that's how it worked. Well, that's probably for the best, because in that case we just create a full board of units that can't die or take damage eventually. And once we level up the kindred, all the kindreds are going to attack when we use the spell that we get that summons the beast. Legion of the Severed, very nice. Fury of the North. Let's do Legion of the Severed. It's a bit of healing and it gives us the option to give something deathless, which is interesting. We need something that's vaguely synergistic with our game plan. Mel's not. Yeah, Mel's not. Same thing with Vayne. Maybe Vayne is actually good because of the tumble. Yeah, let's pick up the Vayne. I got convinced by the tumble. Let's go for the bottom path so we can hit the solitary monk encounter and we can go ahead and pull or remove one card from our deck. Skip the Steadfast Telkin, yeah, and the Withering Mist, just in case I need the healing, I suppose. Maybe it was a mistake though. Let's do Fading Icon. Also, like we learned that last time, unfortunately the Chronicle of Ruin doesn't actually make it so we summon any of our units, because it's a power from the opponent, I think. Let's get rid of that thing. I'm taking the same amount of damage no matter what. I guess this minimizes the amount of damage I take by going ahead and getting rid of one additional unit. Do I Withering Mist here? There is not really a point besides restoring 4. Might as well just keep my health up. No, it actually works, really. Did I just not pay attention last game? Well, lucky me then. Let's do this. Get rid of a unit and splash the damage to another unit. Next turn we'll just be able to go for a level up on the Kindred, I think. No. Actually, no. Maybe. Depends on what the opponent does here. I might actually be able to close out the game here. Yeah, the opponent's letting me strike with the Kindreds, which gives the opponent's units the mark, so now I can just return with another Beast's Frenzy. Okay, he sealed his own fate. He shouldn't have attacked there, although that would only buy him an additional turn. Catch, Bright Steel Protector, Redeemed Prodigy. Honestly, none of these are that appealing. Guess I'll pick up the Bright Steel Protector. it can make something a bit better as a blocker. And then for the card cut, I suppose I'll cut the equipment just because it doesn't really work with our game plan. It won't stick on the board for more than one turn, because at the end of the turn the unit that's equipped with it will just die, and the equipment will be brought back to my hand. Yeah, the USGFI is a non-factor. The fact that the powers are randomized every week means that sometimes you get weeks like this, where the opponent's powers are just counterproductive to their game plan. The opponent's going to steal all of my mana, isn't it? Yep. Yeah, you buffing that doesn't really matter, does it? Yeah, he still dies. I get rid of one of your units. Now that's a bit more of a problem. I'll take the 11. Just because choosing to do otherwise would probably result in me taking even more damage in the long run. The beasts are dealing a bunch of damage, they're definitely closing out the game. I would like a game where I can use the takers to heal up with the Dance of Arrows.
Embrace life.
It's fine. Debuffing my units, not really relevant. Next turn I can level up the Kindred. It's important to level up the Kindred because you can't actually go for the spend for mana deal 3 12 marked enemies version of the spell without having viable targets, and viable targets means marked targets. Though this might be enough to kill the opponent.
Their pulse fades away.
Which would be a problem for me. Yep. So no healing this game either. Slowly and surely the opponents are chipping away at my health. Even if I have a decent amount of regen in between encounters, it still hurts. Like we started with 81 health. Equip, mobilize. You know what, mobilize for one might actually be worth it. Mind meld or a shop. Let's go for a shop. Even though mind meld would be nice to just clear my deck. Yeah, I can get some decent powers here. Explosive Finale is definitely synergistic with our game plan. Even if we can't proc it with the Beast's Frenzy, we should be able to proc it from the splash damage that the Beast deals to the backline from the Overkill. I guess we cut the Fleeting Spirits here. I just haven't gotten any value out of it. This is going to be a challenging encounter. Well, it depends on what the opponent actually develops in the beginning of the game. He starts off with a Malphite and a Stonebreaker. Actually, and also, I didn't know that. The Chronicler of Ruin apparently... yeah, I guess it makes sense. When an enemy dies outside of combat, it'll fall to the enemy nexus. The enemies are dying outside of combat, therefore they are dealing damage to the opponent's nexus. Let's see if he develops something. Yep, that's a very scary board. Well, at least the opponent's killing himself very quickly. Unfortunate part is that my units stand here. Let's try to do this. To go ahead and clear 2 of the opponent's units, hopefully. Okay, no. It doesn't let me. He would rather stun my unit instead. That's a lot of damage. Well, the opponent's taking 20 damage here, right? So he goes down to 6. Okay, we wouldn't have been able to beat this encounter without the without me picking up the explosive finale. The opponent has dealt more damage to himself than I have. Let's drop down the Kindred, see if the opponent answers with something. He is going to die at the end of this turn. He actually deals with the Kindred, surprisingly enough. Good thing I don't have to worry about anything and the opponent just dies. Ooh, that was a very precarious position to be in. Turns out going for the shop instead of the mind meld really was the correct choice. That was nothing but pure luck. Infinity Edge, Rally Banner. Rally Banner is interesting. Will it even proc? I think it won't proc because what's happening is the power tries to kill the Taker, counts as if he has attempted to kill the Taker and then revives the Taker anyway, even though it hasn't died. So the Rally Banner wouldn't actually proc. In that case, the extra 2 attack will probably be better overall. Just to make it so my Kindred is a bit bigger of a threat. You know what? Let's pick up the Thrice Bound. Summoning the Patient Beast might actually be useful, because the Patient Beast strikes all of the opponent's units. And that can be an interesting play. Well, it strikes all of the opponent's marked enemies. But when it dies, the curse should be gone. So I get a free unit off of it. Yep. Now I have a free blocker right at the start. We got lucky with the double mobilize, so we can just develop 2 units here right away. Next turn I'll be able to go for the Taker. And after that the Beast. He probably blocks with the Shadow Fiend, so let's not bother with attacking. Unfortunately none of the opponent's units marked. But yeah, the more the opponent develops onto the board, the faster the game goes, because the more damage the opponent takes. I didn't realize it would work out like this, but I'm glad it does, because that means it's everything significantly easier for me. In fact, the opponent just dies now. Let's do this here, just so the young witch dies, and I don't have to take the 2 damage from it. Block here, block here. And the opponent's dead. Okay, he wanted to overkill himself. Well, now you know. If you ever see this power, just pick up the explosive finale and we'll end up killing the opponent by doing nothing.
With grace and precision.
Red Steel Protector, Kind-Hearted Recruit, Harrowing Return. Let's do Harrowing Return. It's slow, but it basically counts as summoning a unit. Patient Beast with Spell Shield and Regeneration seems decent since we're pulling out of the deck at the start of the game. Yips Genius. Nah. Essence Rip doesn't work well. Spellburn. It kind of synergizes with our deck. We are casting some spells. Not a lot though. It stairs, it that stairs, Dauntless Vanguard. I think the Dauntless Vanguard might be easier to deal with. Sure, the opponent's going to summon an additional Dauntless Vanguard every turn because I have an ally die every turn, guaranteed. But on the other hand, the It That Stairs does nothing for the first few turns, and that's a problem for us because we want the opponent to just develop onto the board so we have targets, or viable targets for our spells and our effects. So this, develop the Vengeful Lymph onto the board. Let's attack here, see if the opponent decides to block there. It was mostly to see if what the opponent did. The opponent's going to get the Dauntless Vanguard here. Everything dies. I develop a Kindred. And then I'll Beast's Frenzy. And that will be the end of that.
Embrace life.
No attacks from the opponent, really? Why wouldn't the opponent attack here? That's such an odd decision in my opinion. I guess he just wants to die. That's why he's doing nothing.
They will.
Turns out I won't even get to do the thing I set out to do, which is to accrue value over time by
More lie ahead.
casting the second mode of the Dance of Arrows with the leveled up Kindred on the board to heal myself and deal damage to all the opponent's units. Nope. Pyromantic Wake on the mobilize. Okay, I guess. It has been kind of useful for us. And now it's going to be even better because it's going to become a -1 for the opponent while it's a +1 for us. Let's get rid of the Legion of the Severed. Unfortunately, it hasn't done anything for us. You know what? This might not be so bad because Viktor's dying every turn. So that means he won't stick around onto the board to have a bunch of keywords on him. At least that's what I think. I think the buffs won't stick. Oh, that's extremely unfortunate for me. The opponent just starts off the game with 2 Viktors. Let's do this. I'll actually try to... I was about to say I'll actually try to strike with the fading icon just so we can have enough spell mana to go for something next turn. I guess I was wrong. Wait, really? The opponent passed the turn without casting all of the Viktor spells? The X-Core upgrades? Why would he do that? For what purpose? And now he's attacking without even playing the Viktor's spells again. Do you just want to lose, opponent? You're making
Shall we?
all of the bad decisions you could possibly make all at once. I can't really play the Beast's Frenzy there, unfortunately. because the Viktor has spell shield. But this Viktor got a deathless keyword, so he's going to get an additional Viktor onto the board. You know what? Maybe that's just a plan. Maybe we just let the opponent kill himself. I'm just going to do that infinitely. Yeah, I figured as much. The yeah, has a hard limit on the amount of cards he can play off of the Spirit Stone, I think. Now, what do I do here?
We do not linger.
We can do this here to remove two of the Viktors, and then we just see what happens. The opponent can't get rid of the Kindreds, that's for sure, because he's in Piltover and Zone. Yeah, he only has damage-based removal. Damage-based removal is not enough. I might be able to kill the opponent depending on what the mark from the Dance of Arrows hits. Okay, that's a kill. To level up the Kindred. The Kindred deals a bunch of damage to the opponent's Nexus. Well, that was easy, except for the mid-boss, which actually was a challenge, and I got carried by the power I purchased. I guess that's just part of the experience, is making good choices in shops. Yeah, let's chalk it up to that and not just pure luck. So yeah, that'll be it for today. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye. Till then.